Hello and welcome back to another Eureka announcements video. They just unveiled their two new releases for January of 2023. And I was a little bit surprised by this one. The one we were definitely expecting, which was the second in the Line of Duty series, which we'll just get to that right away. Actually, I'll talk about my expectations when we get to the second title that's been announced for January of 2023. But the first one is Royal Warriors. Now, I thought that maybe this was Magnificent Warriors, but I think that's also coming from Eureka at some point. I think they've teased that for 2023, but this is Royal Warriors. This is the second in the, again, I use the air quotes, in the Line of Duty series, because it's, from what I understand, it's a very, very, very loosely tied together series that doesn't really have an official chronology. The best I could find through the rudimentary form of looking at Wikipedia is that there are 9 films in this series. It's kind of like the In the Line of Duty series, then it's the Yes Madam series. Michelle Yeoh is only in the first 2. I don't even think the first 2 are even connected. I think the Yes Madam and this one, Royal Warriors, she doesn't play the same character from what I've seen and read. I don't know. Which feels in line with the police story movies, to be honest. I mean, it could be the same person. It could not be. It's this actor playing a cop, basically. But from what I've also read, Tony Raines, the great Tony Raines, has named the 4th film in the Line of Duty series as the best one of the series, if you even consider it a series. But they have kind of basically announced also this week that they're going to be releasing, I guess later on in 2023, the 3rd and 4th movies in the series. I think Donnie Yen stars in the 4th one. They just posted like little screenshots and just hashtag and the kind of, the acronym In the Line of Duty 3 and 4. But as it says in the write-up here on Eureka's website, the second of the loosely connected In the Line of Duty series of films, Royal Warriors is yet another stunning highlight of Hong Kong action cinema. This is the first time this film is being brought to the UK from a brand new 2K restoration. I have looked at the trailer. It looks very good, picture quality-wise, and there's a very fun sequence, it looks like, on a plane at the beginning of the trailer. But I try not to look into the trailers too much, but I was intrigued just to get a little bit of a peek at how the film looked. So it's 1080p presentation of the 2K scan, limited edition slipcase featuring new artwork by Darren Wheeling, limited to 2,000 copies. You do get the original Cantonese mono audio, the optional English dubbed audio, and subtitles have been newly translated for this release. 2 commentaries, the first one from Frank Jiang, and then the second from action cinema experts Mike Leader and Arne Venema. It seems like these guys are always on these releases now, which is very good. I haven't listened to any of their tracks yet, so hopefully I enjoy these people in the commentaries. I've been enjoying listening to commentaries now more, because I've always been not against them, but like not as engaged with the idea of critic commentaries. But I've been enjoying the ones that I've been listening to recently on like Hunchback of Notre Dame, the 3 Boris Karloff films from Maniacal Mayhem, The Most Dangerous Game. So I'm kind of getting into the idea now of being more proactive with listening to these commentaries. So I'm looking forward to checking these ones out. And the ones on the previous film, which hasn't even come out yet. So I can't really say much about my anticipation for this film, because I haven't seen Yes Madam yet, because that's coming out in December. But I'm very much looking forward to this. And I didn't realize that Michelle Yeoh, this is like one of her first films, really. She only started acting in films in the mid-80s, roughly. And Yes Madam was, I guess, her first starring role. And then similarly, this film came out the year afterwards. And so this is where and then she worked with Jackie Chan a few years later. So this is kind of the beginning of her starting in Hong Kong movies around this period. There's a new interview with producer and actor John Shum, a new locations featurette by Arne Venema, a trailer, reversible sleeve design, and the limited booklet with new writing by James Oliver. So yeah, looks good. I like the design of the slipcover very much. I like that there's reversible artwork on it as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing the film. But it's more a case of I'll be more excited for this once I see the first one, even though, again, they're not really apparently that linked. But very much, any Hong Kong action film, I'm really excited about, because I love, again, just looking at the trailer for this, like there's some explosions, and it's like they're like serious explosions that you can tell are really dangerous. And not that I advocate for actors being near dangerous explosions, but hey, if it's already been done, it's exciting. You look at the Jackie Chan films, and it's so much more tangible as an action movie, because these guys are really doing it, all the stuntmen are doing it, and it's just it just grabs you by the balls. So I'm really looking forward to this one quite a bit. But the Masters of Cinema release for January of 2023 is a spaghetti western, and this one is Run Man Run, which will be spine number 272 in the MOC collection, 1968, from Sergio Sollima. So this is limited to 3,000 copies. It has a bonus disc, and there's some speculation online about what's going to be on this bonus disc. Is it going to be another film from the same director? But it turns out it's just the theatrical cut of this movie. Now, I know nothing about this film. I've never heard of it, so I don't know anything about like the different versions, you know. So it's the original uncut version. So I don't know whether it's just the theatrical version. Okay, well, it just says the original theatrical version of the film from the 4K restoration with additional color grading completed exclusively for this release, and that's the same for the main presentation of the movie on the first disc as well. So the version we get is 120 minutes long. The theatrical cut on the second disc is 85 minutes. So I don't know whether like when they cut it, they really cut it, and uncut is like you're getting a whole other version of the movie. But that'll be interesting. I probably will try and watch that when I get around to reviewing this, because I think it'd be, because I always like, oh, a new cut of the movie, but I never end up really watching both cuts, you know. So I'm enjoying the idea of pushing myself more on these new releases and really not just sitting around on them, you know. So this is Spaghetti Western. It's the third and final Western film from Sergio Sollima, and stars Tomas Milian. So, and he plays Chuchilo, reprising his role as the crafty knife thrower from the earlier film from Sollima, The Big Gun Down. So, people seem to be excited about this. Manvi Film seems particularly excited about this, and so that kind of raised my interest a little bit. But Westerns, for me, bit of a blind spot. Spaghetti Westerns, even more so. I mean, I've seen the Dollars trilogy, and they're fucking great, but like, you know, that's like saying you're a big fan of samurai films and you've only seen Seven Samurai. Like, yeah, it's the best film ever made, but that's not the be-all, end-all of samurai films. There's so much more out there in different styles and variations. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Intrigued for sure. This has optional English subtitles, newly translated for this release. I'm assuming it was made in quote-unquote English, and they dubbed it afterwards, so it's not a case of like there's original Italian audio, because that really threw me when I first watched the Dollars trilogy, because Clint Eastwood speaking in English, you know, Lee Van Cleef is speaking in English, but all the other people are clearly not, but their voices are dubbed in English. So obviously it's in English, but, you know, so newly translated. I wonder, you know, why that needed to take place. I don't know. We get too bogged down in these details. So there it is, a limited edition slipcase, obviously, with the limited to 3,000 copies with new artwork by Tony Stella. I love this front cover on the slipcover. It's really, really cool. A reversible poster is also included. New audio commentary with writers Barry Forshaw and Kim Newman, who seems to be popping up in almost every release now, which is kind of cool. Brand new too with film scholar Stephen Thrower. That's cool, because I really enjoyed his piece on, I think it was The Most Dangerous Game. I want to get that right, and I really enjoyed his yes, it was, yeah, and I really enjoyed his piece on Most Dangerous Game, where he talked about the production history of that film, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. That's another thing I'm enjoying, is getting to kind of know these critics now who are appearing on these releases multiple times. Alternate opening credits, theatrical trailer, then on the second disc we have the theatrical cut of Run Man Run, a new audio commentary on that cut of the film with author Howard Hughes and filmmaker Richard New. So they're even putting a new audio commentary for the theatrical cut of the movie. That's pretty cool. And then reversible sleeve and a collector's booklet featuring 2 new essays by Howard Hughes covering both the film and the quote-unquote Zapata Western subgenre. I don't know what that is, or if I even pronounced it correctly, but there you go. Now, when I say surprising, I was kind of intrigued, because December we're getting the first 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray in the MOC collection. And they just, you know, very recently, Eureka released their first 4K release in general, which is the Police Story trilogy. So I was intrigued to see, once they announced that the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari was going to get a 4K release, if we'd see more 4K MOC titles. And given the fact that this Run Man Run is not only, you know, a 1080p presentation from a, as they call, a definitive 4K restoration, with additional color grading completed exclusively for this release, why wouldn't they release it in 4K? So that's just an intriguing element, because if they work, because with the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, that film was already available, you know, so they don't need to do a 4K and a Blu-ray version, because the Blu-ray version is already out there. If they were to do that for this film, would they then need to do 2 different releases, or would they make it a dual format? Then would you alienate the people who aren't 4K yet, you know, and then they don't want to buy the 4K version? Then you gotta get 2 releases, and what if the 4K doesn't sell as well? So maybe that is part of the quandary there, because they're dipping their toes in, but you know, what do they do from here? Did they wait and see how Caligari goes? I think that's probably the best bet for them, really, to see how the 4K market is for the, I would say, fairly niche line of MO. Well, again, is it niche? Is it not? We're all collectors here, and I'm watching this video. It's not niche to them. It's what we love and what we buy and what we get into. But that might be the case where they're kind of seeing, okay, let's see how Caligari does first before jumping in head first with these 4K releases. So, but I'm intrigued to see what the next 4K MOC title might be, if there even is one. But if there is one, will it be a previous release that they kind of re-release because they know it will sell? Or will they, you know, kind of take a leap of faith on something like this? But either way, you know, if it's a 4K restoration, it's going to look great on the Blu-ray anyway. That's the thing for me, and I've always talked about that with 4K, with my experiences, and that's, I don't know if I have it at hand to grab from the shelf. No, I don't. I have the Tremors release. I always reference this, the Tremors release from Arrow Video. They did a brand new 4K restoration from the original camera negative for Tremors, and I missed out on the 4K special edition box set. So I got the special limited edition box set of the 1080p Blu-ray, and it looked fantastic because the source is already from an original camera negative 4K restoration, so it's gonna look great anyway. And with the 4K, it's just a little bit better, you know. So it's you know, it depends on what kind of collector you are, what kind of videophile you are, I suppose. But I'm just more intrigued than like, why aren't they releasing more in 4K? I'm just intrigued to see where the 4K waters flow for Eureka moving forward. And I was just intrigued based on December's announcements whether January would feature another 4K release. But I think they're probably going to wait and see how that does in December and probably adjust from there, I would assume and hope. So fingers crossed that release does well. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the January of 2023 releases. And yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.